Hello and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror 666, the podcast where two dudes spin a wheel every day leading up to Halloween. It chooses the horror film and they discuss it. Today we're talking about Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which was directed by Eli Craig and came out in 2011. I'm your co-host Alec.
I'm Eric, and with us again, our Stephen King expert. Has nothing to do with Stephen King today, but Dom Berger, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, we couldn't be further from Stephen King, but I actually suggested this, or I asked to be on this one because this came out a while ago. Is this the first time you guys have ever seen this movie?
Yeah. Same, dude. I haven't seen any of the movies on our current wheel, actually. So
Same.
Oh, so I gotta ask before I give the background of the first time I saw this because. So I don't know if you guys ever, like back in the day when you wanted to watch movies that had not come out yet, and you get like the shaky, like camera film version. There was all these like, like these sites on the internet. They were always shitty quality, but for some reason, this movie existed out there. I think it was ripped from like the studio, and it was in great quality, and it was all over one of those sites. So that's the first time I saw this was actually on the internet.
Oh, okay. That's good, though. I mean, that you actually got to see it in good quality. And, because I don't know where this would have been in theaters, because this was an indie movie, Well,
it's weird. So on these internet sites, there's all this gossip about, like, a movie that, like, satirizes. So just for a little background, hopefully you've seen the movie if we're talking about it. But, this is a movie that kind of makes fun of those, like, conventional Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday the 13th movies. And I mean, like, when they were talking about it on these websites, it was like, oh, this, like, it's all satirical, it's really funny. It's got the guy from, have you guys ever seen Serenity?
Yeah. That guy's everywhere.
Dodgeball, yeah.
Yeah, dude, A Leaf on the Wind. So he was in this, and, like, there's a couple of, like Disney Channel stars who have like grown up since. So this movie kind of came out of left field where it's satirizing these movies, but also the kills in it are super gruesome. So they're super high quality. So to see something like this come out of nowhere, I was very surprised. Rewatching it, I want to know what you guys thought first. So what did you think of it your first time seeing it?
I thought it was really good for the first, 45 minutes, and then I felt like they just didn't know what to do, and then it kind of turned into like a weird therapy session, and like plot points started not making sense. But the first solid 45 minutes to an hour, I thought it was hilarious. I love the setup, and then it kind of pittered out for me a bit.
For me, it was like opposite, a little bit opposite. The first 5-10 minutes, I'm like, what am I watching? And then I was like, I kind of like this. And then, like Alex said, it kind of gets a little crazy at the end, and all the reveals and whatnot, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as it went on.
Yeah, I think, just like you were saying, Alec, I think that it was kind of a premise and then the plot was built around it. So them setting up all these different situations, these common things we see in movies, and how could that be a miscommunication, right?
Yeah.
And it's really clever when they actually get into each one of these positions, but the setup to get there sometimes is a little bit clunky. Right, because they have to show, okay, these are normal guys, and this is how you could misconstrue someone being thrown into a wood chipper.
Yeah.
What's the other side of that movie look like? And I thought that the chemistry between Dale and the girl that plays Allie was so great in some scenes. They didn't have a lot to work with, but you can tell Dale is a great actor. He really he sold it. I believed him for a good portion of this. And then the guy from Serenity, whatever his name is, forgive me for not knowing, I thought that they sold these little mini improv scenes. They made it a little more realistic. I think the movie was better than it should have been because of the actors.
Yeah, I think that's actually exactly what it is. It's like these actors embody the characters so well that you just believed it, even though the script was kind of weak. They made it believable.
100%. And the special effects, I think that's where some of the shots that they recreate, that that it was made by somebody who really loves these movies. There's a real passion that comes through.
Yeah.
It's just the script itself is so bare bones that I guess they were just well, the premise will sell it. And these actors, I don't know, the teenagers that have to be killed off, I understand that you can't get too attached, but it definitely took me out of it when they were kind of like the Scooby Gang,
Yeah. They're all disposable. Yeah.
Here's what I took away from this whole movie is that hillbillies are as dumb as college kids.
100%.
And that's what's funny is when the kid who shoots himself by taking the safety off and like pointing it at himself by accident.
My God.
And then Dale's like, "You guys got to be more careful." It's like that was like the funniest part of the movie.
Yeah.
But you guys are really stupid.
Dude,
I just loved it.
And the kills are so gruesome and they're so well done that like it's almost that was when it's at its peak is when these kills are happening and you're laughing at the setup. And then Alec, I agree with you. As soon as it was like we're gonna have a therapy session, I was like, all right, I understand you have to get to a point where the people outside get drawn in, but it just felt like such a stop sign in the middle of this like pretty quick setup thing, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree. That was the moment where I was kind of like, it's losing me. We're dragging a bit here. One thing I wanted to ask you guys, though, because I think like it's cool to look back in horror, and we've all seen hundreds of horror movies at this point, and to look at like kind of like the dialogue and the comedy of horror and how it's progressed. Because like before Scream, it was kind of just like cheesy, shitty teen dialogue for the most part. And then by the time we get to Scream, it becomes meta. And it's like, ooh, these are like, the 90s Gen X, very self-aware kind of comedy. And even that got tired after a point. And I felt like with this and Cabin in the Woods, it kind of like even took it to another level where it's like, we're going to criticize the entire genre, not just acknowledge it, but just like pull apart the tropes,
It's a scary movie, but with one plot, really.
Yeah, exactly. It just like I guess that's another way to look at it. But it felt like it just really played upon, like what Dom was saying, like misconstruing and miscommunication, but within a horror film to make you see it from the other side, And you just like with Cabin in the Woods, you could kind of apply this to a lot of horror movies. I mean, not like Jason. It's like, okay, he's clearly like on a rampage, But maybe like Leatherface, maybe he really is misunderstood.
Like Friday the 13th, or Texas Chainsaw, when they're driving on their way in and they're having that dialogue. The dialogue was very similar to that in this film, but it just gets so corny. It was like, we forgot the beer. No. Like,
that dialogue is clearly nodding to like the shitty 80s stuff, but just like, I don't know, the way that horror is kind of evolved and its meta-ness, I guess, is kind of what I mean.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you do it in a way that's new?
Yeah.
And there's some pieces of this movie, like, particularly, like, I don't know, when I was watching the chainsaw part and they're running through and he's doing, like, the motions, and it's like, that was a pretty good setup payoff.
Yeah.
And they have a really good way of shooting it so that as the audience, you're like, oh, I see, they finally got to this point. It's nice and clean. It looks great. I think the issue is when, and this is going to sound backwards, when they try to give more backstory to these characters, right? So it's like, whenever they go into alleys, like, I want to be a psychologist, and obviously it's to set up like how they figure out how Chad is like screwed up. But I was like, the more I learn about Chad's back, it's really funny when she cuts him off and she's like, oh, like, okay, Chad. He's like, no, this is important. Like, like it's like, oh yeah, when people would monologue, like, you wouldn't know how to react to that. It's like, oh, thanks for sharing that.
This is a big part of why, like I say, that was so funny.
Yeah,
she makes them tea and stuff and like sits them down. That was so good.
I think that character, though, Dom, I'm totally guessing here, but might have been a nod to the woman from Friday the 13th Part 2, because she's like a psychologist and that's how she like tricks Jason into thinking like I'm the mother or whatever. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm thinking maybe that might have been why, but it was probably more for the plot for that therapy scene too.
Well, that was the thing, is that I think they set up a good kind of like, here's what's going to happen in an expectation, and then they kind of wanted to do something different in the second half, so they had to throw all this exposition and then continue on. And it was like, okay, Dale all of a sudden can remember things, perfectly, even though we've just set up that he's like not intelligent, right? And so it was like, is there a point to doing that? Is it like, oh, there's more to him than it seems? But like to a degree, it's like he's the most realistic part of this movie. And then all of a sudden, it's just like we just keep adding character traits just to help along these like setups. Like, all right, we want to hit all the tropes from these movies, so we're going to add more and more to these characters. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, guys.
They add so much to every kid. Like, even Dale, when he's playing the trivia game, he's like, I'm really stupid, but I remember everything I hear.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, that's a huge quality that you can make a lot of money off of.
Eric, who watching that part didn't go, what?
Yeah, Well, there's so many stuff. There's so much stuff like that. I just love Dale. Both of them were great, but just Dale walking up to the kids for the first time with the scythe or whatever thing. Why was he holding that? I have no idea. And he's just like, going camping, and it's just like, let's get away from this guy. And stuff like that is so funny. But I just love when he wakes up Allison, and she's like, what happened? She's like, Dale and me brunch you here, or something like that. It's just the way he talks is so funny.
You don't like pancakes? Oh, I didn't know you didn't like pancakes. All right, yeah, fair.
But there's so many layers to these characters. Like there's that one scene too where the bad guy is like, I can't have Earl Grey tea. It flares up my asthma. And it's like, why do we need to know that? And like that's how they defeat him at the end, pretty much.
Yeah.
Dude, I like that. Like, obviously, there's big reactions from the kids, but I like how Tucker doesn't react to things as like when they cut off his fingers and they pull out, and he just goes, "You dick."
Yeah. Yeah.
I like how he just pours beer on all his, like when he gets stung by the bees, he's like pouring a beer on his face. He like pours beer on his stubbed fingers.
Yeah.
So it's like that doesn't help anything. There's no sanitation quality of that at all.
He's just pouring it into his cooler, like over his like
I know
snub fingers.
God,
I was
so
like,
gross.
oh god. But it's so funny that like they're lying there and all this stuff has happened to him, and he's like, Dad, Tucker, I don't like going fishing.
Yeah.
And he's like, did I hurt your feelings? And he's like, yeah. Kind of.
Well, I don't know, Don. I watched the Dead Meat before this just to like see what, if there's any behind the scenes stuff. And he said that those two guys, the guys that play Tucker and Dale, they would literally just stay after they were done filming and hang out and just improv together and really get into these characters. And like you can clearly tell, but it's like that's so cool that they're like, let's just fucking go all in on this,
Alec, that's what makes the movie so good.
Yeah.
It's just like those moments that like, and it's so natural. I heard something the other day where it's like, my job as an actor is not to fulfill your fantasy. It's to be relatable. It's like to be someone that you know.
Yeah.
And, these are like, obviously the kids that get killed off, they're supposed to be stereotypes and all these things. But like the dimensions that were added, you could tell it was improv a lot. And you could also tell that like these guys were very comfortable with each other, like the main three. I loved it.
Yeah.
He can't even hurt a fish. Like not even a fish. That's so good. There's so much stupidity in this film, but it's great. Was that John Stamos too who said that? Like the idea of me is not. I think I read something about John Stamos recently that's like, I am not the idea of John Stamos anymore. It's like, what?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't know if anyone's seen that. I literally read that like
he's like
2 days
Prince.
ago.
He's like the man formerly known as John Stamos.
Yeah, right.
Look it up. You think I'm crazy? Google it later.
I am really Jesse Christopoulos, and you know what? We're going on tour.
I'm tired of being the idea of John Stamos. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I have no idea what that means, John.
He's like, I'm officially a beach boy. Everybody.
Yeah.
I get, I'm kind of, but like that was also Jesse was kind of too. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Can't keep up with the guy. Sorry. Anyway, back to this movie.
All right, Eric, I have a question for you though.
Shoot.
All right, Katrina Bowden. First thought that comes to mind.
Top five for me. Top 5.
Which one is she?
She's
Allison,
the
Allie.
lead woman.
She's
Yeah, dude. Oh,
special.
30 Rock was like, I had a maxim of her back in like probably 2009 or 10, and I'm like, unreal. She's unreal. I wouldn't be able to talk to her. I'd be like Dale. I would be like, do you want pancakes or pancakes? I got pancakes. Like I wouldn't be able to talk to her. I don't think.
It's offensive. I mean, she's like too attractive. She's the kind of girl that's like she couldn't just work at a bank. Like she can't.
No.
Like she has to be a model or an actress. Like it's unacceptable if she's not.
It's pretty distracting. Like the whole movie, you're like, God, wow, okay. Yep.
I like when she comes out to help him dig, and it's like, you either help out or get out, and like, oh yeah, you're working a farm. Okay, that's hot too. But also, Dale going, she's like, what you doing? I'm digging a shithole. I mean, a hole to shit in, an outhouse hole. Yeah, an outhouse hole. I just stuff like that would make me just laugh out loud.
Yeah, no.
A shithole.
Dude, that was funny. I laughed pretty hard at that.
Another little tiny bit of trivia, which is not that interesting, but maybe how this movie got made. Do you guys know who Eli Craig, the director, who his mama is?
No.
Stewie from Family Guy. That's what you talk.
No. You really like
No,
me.
you like me. Oh,
Sally?
Yeah, Miss.
No way.
Miss Field. Yeah, that's his mama.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm like, huh, I wonder if, like, she's like, oh, fine, I'll do Lincoln, I'll give you some money for it. Like, I don't know, like, what, I mean, maybe that, I'm totally guessing, but I don't know, because you're like, how did this, like, kind of first-time director get, like, some, not huge names, but, you know, Alan Tudyk, $5 million to make the movie? I don't know, I'm just saying.
It looked great, man.
It did.
Whatever they had, they definitely put it to use.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys have a favorite part?
Chainsaw part, for sure.
With the bees?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
That was
great.
super great.
Just the way he was freaking out was just so good. It was so good.
Dude, I laughed pretty hard when the spear went through his legs, and he was just like, first time I ever, I'm glad I'm not hung like a bear. And like the laugh they had off that other guy, I was like, that is an authentic laugh. Like, that is fucking funny.
Definitely some improv in this. Yeah, I liked when he's taking like the half corpse off the wood chipper, and he just like, instead of just like taking off the side, he like runs it by his face. You remember that?
Yeah.
When he's like pulling the body off of him,
All
but it's
of them?
like, just take it off to the side. But he's just like, that's so hilarious. It's like Three Stooges level. It's like Three Stooges level, but so good. I loved it.
The way the cop gets killed was actually pretty good too. Like, it's just like, because they're sitting in the cop car thinking like, all right, they're gonna take care of it, and he walks, he's got this bloody nail thing in his head, and they're like, oh my god, they killed him. It's just like,
It was so good, dude. It was so funny.
and it's good because they set up that thing was weak, you know, throughout the film, so like you believe that would happen. If that just happened, you'd be like, okay, but they're like, oh, that's that weak post, so like, funny, that was good, you know.
Was that them trying to fix it with the shitty nails, you think?
No, it was always just like faulty, right? Like when they moved in, it was fucking faulty.
Oh, but
So
yeah,
when-
maybe they put nails in it though to try and fix it. I don't know.
I think they tried to fix it. They had the nail gun, and they just did like a hillbilly job to get it done, like with glue and stuff and duct tape. And I think that's what happened. It's like their shitty handcrafting got him killed.
Yeah, I like when the cop went up front, because it's literally that scene every single time where like the cop's like, wait here, I'm gonna go talk to him,
Yeah.
and then he always goes into the house, and it's like they set that up pretty well. I love the chainsaw part, but I gotta say, like, him trying to pull the legs out of the wood chipper.
I love the whole wood chipper scene.
Dude, I laughed so hard, and the girl with the big boobs gets like nailed with blood, and I was like, it's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And I love "We Got Your Friend." I thought like even the note they left in the woods, I laughed at that pretty hard.
Yeah, that whole thing is like, we got your friend. And that could be misconstrued so easily. So, yeah, very, very funny. You know, the ending gets a little crazy. So Chad, who's just this, like, dick the whole movie, and he's like, we don't need the cops, like, just crazy. And he, apparently, we get a backstory. It flashes back to 1990, and they're playing Tone Loc, or I think it was Tone Loc, and they're playing music, and these hillbillies come out and kill them. So he thinks that he is like the survivor's son, and he's basically like, I gotta come back and take care of these hillbillies. But plot twist, we find out actually this guy is like a hillbilly guy, you know, and
he's got hillbilly blood.
Yeah, that was like so offensive to him. It's like, you're half hillbilly. He's like, shut up. Like,
he's in this like polo shirt or whatever with his like collar up. So good.
Yeah. So after that, I mean, the character's clearly unstable, you know, but by the end of it, he turns into like Two-Face and is like, you know, got melted head, and he's still like, I'm gonna Bond villain kill you, Katrina Bowden, with a buzzsaw. It, you know, it was fine, but I was kind of just like, yeah, who else is gonna do this? Though? There's no villain, you know.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest problem with this. Is like, I know that the college people are like caricatures or whatever. But I do think that, like, for the most part, we're waiting for the realistic reactions to something crazy.
Yeah.
And Chad goes off the deep end so quickly, and then he doesn't react to anything that happens to him. So it's like, all right, his face gets burned, but he's, like, not in pain, you know. And I understand what they have. Like, they have to set up, like, okay, you know, how do we make this crazy hillbilly into the hero? We have to turn the other, you know, the college kid into the villain. But I don't know. It's just like at that point, it was too much makeup and too much going on that I was like, all right, I'm just waiting for this to be done.
No, I felt the same way. It just, yeah, it dragged. Like, I wonder if this movie, if it was an hour, you know, maybe it would have been better. But then again, if it's only an hour, they can't promote it, and, you know.
They could have gone about it a different angle where there is an actual killer out there, like a Jason Voorhees, but he keeps getting beaten by Tucker and Dale
I like
before
that.
he can make the kill.
Yeah.
You know, so instead of like this whole 180 that happens with Chad or whatever, they could have done that where it's just like, come on, man, I was just gonna kill him. All right.
Yeah.
And it's just them accidentally killing people, or these college kids running into fence posts and stuff, or wood chippers and stuff. So it's like, damn it, they got, you know. So they could have done that, but I think, you know, the hillbilly thing is what really drives this.
I like that though, Eric. If they did that, and then maybe when Chad finds out he's half the hillbilly, then he like joins them to kill the killer. Like, I don't know, that could have been cool.
Yeah, could have done it either way. I'm sure there was a lot of ideas floating around, and I think ultimately what they did is perfect. It's fine. The ending though is a little like, okay, like,
What was it?
it goes off. They're going bowling, remember?
Oh yeah.
He gives Katrina Bowden a helmet.
Yeah.
I laughed. I was like, her reaction is they must have done that take like 10 times. Like, oh my god, it's a helmet. It's like, yeah, it's pink. Like,
Dude, I laughed at the part when he's like, you know, you got a good girl there, but she just keeps falling and knocking herself out unconscious. And it's like they let you sit with that. It's like, yeah, she's been knocked unconscious for half the movie.
well, even the cop going up to her at one point when he goes inside, he like looks in her eye and he's like, yeah, she's not brain dead yet. It's like, oh my god.
Well, that was another thing that Dead Meat brought up, which I thought was pretty accurate. Like, they should have like broken her ankle or something, because I'm trying to imagine any world where this girl's not like, no, I'm leaving. I'm going to see my friends. He's like, no, you need to sit down. You hurt your head. Like, you know, I don't think anybody realistically would stay there unless like their ankle was broken, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, the rule of concussions is you don't drink in a concussion and you don't sleep. You stay awake as long as you can.
Well, yeah.
So if she's concussed, like he's like, rest. You need to rest. It's like,
I mean, would you stay, Eric?
No, dude,
Yeah.
no. I was like, I gotta let them know I'm okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, for her to just be like, let's play board games and hang out. It's like, that's not gonna happen. Like, you know, what? It
Yeah,
has
I
to.
agree. It's one of those things you just let slide.
Yeah.
during the movie.
You have to.
Yeah, you know in the back of your head. Well, I gotta say, so I think I loved every kill. I even liked the weed whacker when it like took that girl's face off. I was
yeah.
like, holy shit!
That sucked, dude. How about when the girl like threw like extra or like the like it looked like water onto the guy who's burning,
Oh my god!
and it's just like clearly it didn't help, and it's so like violent for the next 20 seconds.
Yeah,
I
he's
was
like sizzling like a log. Dude, I like that, and I thought everyone had their own little corner except for the blonde girl, who like they're like we got to get rid of her and the cabin, right? And I'm like, all right, I guess an explosion, because the guy, they set that up, right? He put the gasoline all around. It's like, I guess they set that up, but I wish her death was a little bit more, I don't know. It's like the last one, so I thought like, I guess it blew up. That's a pretty big special effect. I take that back.
Hers could have been bigger. I'm with you, Don. It could be funnier.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like don't even remember it. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I thought the guy running into the tree was really surprising. Like that got me, and he looked like he was really dying, you know. And then the one guy that falls into the grave and lands on the spike too. Like, just bad ways to go. But yeah, I mean, good use of CGI, but also practical effects. Not scary at all. It's definitely a comedy, but very good. You know, surprised it cost $5 million, but very good.
It made about $5 million back, so that's probably why there's not a sequel. Because probably it's like, well, you broke even,
right.
There's no reason to do a second.
Well, we just covered The Descent yesterday, and that's like they made that for 3.5 million pounds, where they had to build an entire cave system and like, you know, creatures and stuff like that, and that cost less than this. So you're like, like what? But
That's a lot. That's a lot less than I thought that movie would cost.
Right?
That's incredible.
I know.
3.5,
and that's not even
nothing.
dollars; it's pounds, which I think was less at that time.
Just the makeup alone, and I don't know how they pulled that off, but it's good.
And this is good too, but you're just kind of like, damn, that was 1.5 million more. You guys don't have like a star in this movie either, so you're like, where the fuck did that money go?
This must have been so much fun to work on. Though.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It must have just been a blast to just be on the production or even the crew.
Dude, if you guys could give like the MVP to the best like actor in this movie, and if you could switch one character out, who would those two be?
I mean, it's definitely Tucker or Dale for sure. They're both so good in different ways. I don't know. I think I like Tucker a little more though. He's more believable to me.
Tucker's definitely the brain, and Dale's the pinky. But I like Dale. I was just dying watching it. But both of them are great. I mean, the whole movie was hilarious. But Dale he made me laugh the hardest. When he's just like, I dove in and I rescued you. And he's like all proud about rescuing Katrina Bowden from the water. Were you spying on us? Like, no, out. Maybe Tucker was, or like, it's so good.
Yeah, dude. So I think Tucker is great because like he just gives a lot of like he makes things real, and he also gives a lot of opportunities to the other actors. I think Dale does a lot to show chemistry with Allie. Sorry, and she's good when they're just kind of like talking with each other, but the rest of her character is kind of just like they didn't give her anything to work with. It's not the actress's fault at all, but like you kind of get drawn to the absurdity of like the lack of a script, like the minute that she's kind of put away from him for a little too long. So I think I would switch out her for. I mean, she's beautiful. I don't know. Let's keep her in the movie.
Well, I think they doubled down on Dumb Blonde. It's like, you can't leave. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
Why can't I leave?
I mean, it's called Tucker and Dale, so it's kind of like I figured they're going to be the stars, you know, and everybody else. I mean, yeah, she's a fine actress, but I mean, I think there's a reason she's in this movie. I don't know. She's just like, yeah, distractingly good looking. She's a good actress though.
She's great in 30 Rock. She's funny as hell.
Yeah, I wish one of the other girls was like jealous of her. Like there was just one different dynamic for like the three girls, because like the other blonde is ditzy, and then the darker girl, she doesn't really have any character at all. She's just there to kind of get a weed whacker to the face.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, you know, I could have like, if you're, I get it, you have a lot of kills to get through and you need more bodies, but like, I don't know.
Like with her and Chad, like Chad and her were actually boyfriend girlfriend. They broke up, and now they're there. And then Chad's like, "Forget you, I'm gonna be with Stacy instead."
Eric, you know what it needed? It needed from House of Wax, where they just randomly dropped that Paris Hilton's pregnant in that one scene randomly out of nowhere.
I forgot they did that.
They needed something like that in this movie. Like you're pregnant? It's like, I know. Like, but the only thing we got is like Chad is like into eugenics. He's just kind of like, yeah, he's basically just like, we're above other people. Like we're better than them. It's like, oh, okay. We should round them up and get rid. It's like, okay, Chad, hey, calm down, buddy.
Dude, wait, Eric, I'm still thinking of what you were just talking about, because it could be the perfect way to get this movie back on track. Is like there's, you know, a girl in the group who's jealous that Chad's into Allie, and then you think that she gets killed off. She like gets pushed down something. Chad becomes crazy and whatever, and they kill Chad. And then the jealous girl who didn't actually die, she's the last, you know, jump scare or kill.
Yeah.
I there's no doubt that wasn't discussed.
It's so obvious.
They could have done like 30 different ways, but this movie it does what it came to do, and it was great. And to me, when I look at this movie, it's like, okay, there's hillbillies and college students, and very little difference.
Amen to that.
Like you get like the full on Deliverance, like swamp people, and you have college kids. They're equally as dumb.
Yeah, they're gonna die one way or another. Both groups.
The best line in the movie is, "You guys got to be more careful." And that is, to me, is the line of the movie.
Yeah.
Because college kids don't give a shit. They'll drink and fall and knock their heads open, and yeah.
Dude, yeah. I think about how many times, like, how lucky I was, like, just getting so drunk, and like, you know, I'm like, wow, I'm really lucky I didn't get hurt a lot more. You know,
we should have been more careful, Alec.
Yeah,
that's what we should have done, but we made it. We were okay.
Yeah. Well, anyways, do you guys have any last-minute thoughts on... Actually, you know, Tucker Dale versus Evil? Why is it called versus Evil? Who's evil in this?
Because of Chad. Chad's the evil. They're not evil, it's Chad.
So why isn't it called Tucker and Dale versus Chad?
The reveal at the end.
I know. I don't know. Evil is a little... It kind of makes it feel like it's going to be like Evil Dead a little bit, but anyways.
Yeah, definitely.
You guys got any last-minute thoughts, though?
No, I'm pretty good.
Eric?
I mean, yeah, I'm great. I'm with Dom on this one.
All right. Well, hey there. Eric, why don't you spin the old wheel then, baby?
Let's spin the wheel. All right, let's pull her up.
Yee-hoo.
I hate fishing. Don't you say that. All right, spinning. Ringu. I don't know that one. Did you pick that one?
Oh, yes, you do. Yeah, it's the original ring. It's the Japanese ring.
Yeah. All right. I'm not ready for that.
I'm excited. I've never seen any of the movies, so this is fun.
I mean, that makes sense. It's the ring. It's called Ringu.
Ringu. Yeah, it's just Japanese for ring, I think. I could be wrong, but anyways. But Dom, thank you for joining us, dude. First non-Stephen King one in a while.
I know. I mean, it was kind of a nice, easy departure, but, since our last podcast, I have listened to 2 more Stephen King books, and I'm on a 3rd.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you listened to the audio version of this, but I'm assuming no.
No, I thought about it, and I was like, I think the art speaks for itself. I don't need any additional literature.
One movie I do want to get you on for soon, Dom, is 1922. I just watched
Let's
that.
do it.
It's good. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. There's a cool... Anyway, we'll talk about it then.
Yeah.
Never seen that one.
It's good, Eric. It's good. We'll get that once the SAG strike's over. We'll get that going again. But Dom, thank you again, and everybody, thank you for listening in. We'll see you tomorrow with Ringu.
Ringu.